All right, this is Boxing with the Truth, and I am the Truth. It's January 4th, 2015, and we are here with retired pro boxer Ivan the Mighty Robinson. How you doing, Ivan?
How you been, sir? I'm good.
Well, I'm really glad that you decided to do this interview with me. I'm a huge fan, and for the boxing fans that don't know, Ivan has had quite the career. He's been in a lot of wars, and if you're not familiar with Ivan Robinson, you need to go to your video store, go on YouTube, or go wherever you need to go to get and look up Ivan Robinson, because he has put on some great fights in his career. The two fights with Arturo Gatti, you got Angel Manfredi, you got Julio Cesar Chavez, you got Philip Holiday, you got Vivian Harris, you got the amateur fight with Oscar De La Hoya. I mean, the list goes on, man. Am I wrong, Ivan?
No, you're not wrong at all. You just didn't mention my man Jesse James Leha.
Well, I'm sorry, Jesse James Leha. There's such a list, man. It's hard to remember all of them.
Yeah, I understand. I appreciate that too.
Also, Emmanuel Augustus, also known as Burton, Antonio Diaz.
Yeah, can't forget crazy Emmanuel Burton.
All right, so let me just go over some statistics real quick. Your pro record is 32-12 with 2 decisions.
Yes, sir.
You're out of Philadelphia. You're mainly known as a welterweight fighter.
Yes.
And you retired in 2008. That's correct, right?
Say that again?
You retired in 2008?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how did you get involved in boxing? I heard that you actually started like really early, like at the age of 5.
Yeah, I did. I started at 5. My dad introduced me to the boxing game.
Okay, so now was your dad just a trainer or was he a fighter too?
Well, he was just a trainer. He said he used to play around when he was younger, but he never took it serious or done anything as serious as I was.
Okay, and you actually have some amateur awards though, right? You got the featherweight. You were a featherweight silver medalist at the Golden Wheel Games in Seattle.
Yes, sir.
And unfortunately, the reason you didn't win the gold is because you actually lost to Oscar De La Hoya, correct?
Well, no. Everybody profound my record in losing to Oscar. I didn't lose to Oscar. I lost to Oscar in the Goodwill Games. That was the third and final time we both fought each other, and we fought on I believe it was TBS. It was broadcast live. Everybody seen it. Everybody thought I beat him. I basically thought that I beat him. But the year following that, I was the #1 featherweight in the world. I was supposed to be on that team with Oscar, but I messed around and lost to a kid from Virginia named Julian Wheeler. And it's crazy because at that time, that's when that computerized scoring came out, and it wasn't meant for me. So I lost to him in the Olympic trials and the box off, and it just shattered my career.
Yeah, so you actually fought Oscar De La Hoya in the amateurs twice and lost to him by decision.
No, I fought Oscar 3 times.
3 times?
3 times. I fought him in 89 Golden Gloves. Then I fought him in the finals of the 90 ABF championships, and then I fought him in the Goodwill Games Challenge. And let me see if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was Vegas.
So why did you never fight him in the pros?
Well, that's a good question. I asked myself the same thing. I wonder why I didn't fight him. The fight when he fought Jesse James Leha, they called me for that fight. To fight Oscar, and I wanted to take the fight, but I don't know. I think money was wrong because they only offered. Let me try to think. I think they offered. Crazy. They didn't offer me enough. Well, I thought it was enough money at the time. I think it was for $250,000, something like that, and my team didn't want it. I don't know why they didn't want it. I didn't care. I would have fought. Back in that time, I would have fought just to be fighting because I love the box. I mean, of course, people would say, "Oh man, you crazy? You should have took the money to the." Yeah, that's true too. But I mean, my team wanted more. We thought we could could have got more because me and Oscar was two undefeated two undefeated professional fighters at the time. We both were on a ride. Of course, he was the golden boy, and I was under him. And I think I was like ranked number 3 or 4 in the world, and he was champion. And I think that would have been a great fight. Of course, I know I would have beat him, but it never happened, you know. And he was just here in Philly a couple months ago, before Bernard Hopkins fought his last fight at light heavy. Me and Oscar talked, and I was just playing around with him, but I wanted to see where he was at. I was talking about me and him fighting, and he laughed about it. But of course, I know it was just something I put out there. I wanted to see what he was going to say. He never got back to me about it. He never said anything else to me about it. But I'm okay with it. You know, I still love him to death. I'm glad he's doing great things. And hopefully we'll meet up somewhere down the line. But it won't be in a boxing aspect. It'll be business.
So, another fighter that I'm wondering why he never fought is, and I think the fans would have loved to see this, because you and Arturo Gatti fought twice. Then Mickey Ward fights Arturo 3 times, which is legendary fights. But why did you and Mickey Ward never fight?
Mickey Ward didn't want to fight. I asked Mickey Ward after that about the fight. He said no. He said he didn't want to fight me. I don't know why. I think that would have been a great fight too. But he didn't want to fight me, and God forbid, something happened. The reason why it didn't happen, it did come off. But I would have had love myself. I would have loved to be in that fight. I think Mickey Ward is a great fighter. He actually fought the fight that I would have loved to fight. I mean, he came straight ahead. I knew he had a great left hook. I just knew I was the better boxer. Of course, I was the guy with the quicker hands. But, styles make fights, and we definitely would have loved to see that fight. I know I would have loved to see it.
Okay, and one more fighter I'm kind of curious about why you never fought is, why did you and Shane Mosley never fight?
Well, it's crazy you ask me these questions, because I think everybody across the world would have loved to see these fights, but I don't know if it was about money or guys being beat, or I don't know. I think I was just that kid that people didn't want to see at their career. I just would have gave guys a lot of trouble. Actually, Shane Mosley came to Philadelphia to fight, and he had no opponent to fight. And I asked for a fight. I had just fought a kid about a month before that. I got cut, and we was signed to fight the Shane Mosley fight. But the fight before that, I fought a kid. I can't even remember the kid name, but it was in Philly. I beat him, but I got cut in the fight. And instead of me going to the hospital to get stitched up and this, that, and other, my cut man put butterflies on it. And we was preparing for the Shane Mosley fight. We took it. But what happened? The cut reopened, and we never got a chance to fight. And it was here in Philadelphia. And when everybody knew that I was going to fight Shane, the fight was going to be sold out. And it would have been a great fight. But like I said, the cut happened. The cut allowed me not to fight. Shane Mosley went and fought, and he won. I don't know whatever happened to me and him fighting again. But, God forbid, and he looked out for me. He gave me the Arturo Gatti fight. And, of course, the Arturo Gatti fights were, bigger and better than the Shane Mosley fight. I think that fight with Gatti turned out to be better than what the Robinson-Mosley fight would have been here in Philadelphia. So, that prevailed to be a good fight. The Shane Mosley fight could have happened afterwards, but I don't know. After I fought Arturo Gatti twice, I fought Angel Man Freddy on the Shane Mosley card, because Shane Mosley fought John Brown that night. I don't know what it was. To me, at my camp, Angel Man Freddy was just a better fighter that night. I guess he may have came prepared a little better than I did. But I came, but I wasn't able to get with a hump. Because Manfredi was a great fight. I should have beat Manfredi. And I think once I would have beat Manfredi, I would have commanded a fight with Shane. And everybody would love to see it, but it never happened. And I'm happy with the way my career went. A couple of things I tweak out that I wish would have still been available, but hey, I can't complain. I think I had a great run in this professional ranks. A lot of people said I should have had more. championship fights than what I had here. But you know how the game is. You know how the fight game goes. Either you in or you out. And I think when I lost to man Freddie, I think I lost a lot of credibility in the boxing game, as far as with like promoters and. So I only had one manager, and he was with me my whole career. I just thought that the promoters just lost credibility in me. That's why I wasn't able to get no more big fights.
All right, well, let's back up in your career a little bit.
Okay.
I'm curious to know, why did you fire your father as a trainer before the Philip Holiday title shot fight?
Well, you know, it was I was pretty much on a natural high. I was married at the time, and my dad and my ex-wife didn't get along, and you know, it just didn't work out. And I thought that my dad was a bad apple in the camp, and I should have never looked at it that way. I think that's the only thing throughout my whole life, and even throughout my career. I think if I would have kept my dad, honestly, I think maybe me and Floyd Mayweather would have fought maybe this year sometime, last year sometime, or the year before that, because my dad, he's just a genius when it comes to boxing, and he knew all the right things to help me prepare for my fights. And it just was a bummer because you see, I went 21-0 with my dad. Once my dad was let go after before the Philip Holiday fight, once the Philip Holiday fight came on, and I fought it, my career was kind of much in a roller coaster ride. I won some, lost, won, then lost. So I'd have kept my dad the whole time. I think I would still been undefeated.
So do you think, now that you look back, I mean, you can't change things, but do you think that was a huge mistake?
Yes, definitely. I tell me and my dad, we always were great friends. Just, you know, me making a bad decision in life, that I regret it. And I hold it, for me, that's a grudge that I hold until the day I die. I'm always going to hold that grudge, no matter what the circumstances. But me and my dad have the best relationship right now. And we are the best of friends like we were when we first started. I know he feels some type of way about it. He just don't talk about it. But I'm not scared to talk about it. I'm not scared to talk about it at all.
Well, I will
talk about it.
Yeah, I appreciate you talking about it, because I just wanted to find out the details on that. Another fight, would you say Emmanuel Augustus / Burton was probably the most awkward fighter that you've ever fought?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Fighting before I fought Emmanuel, I didn't pretty much have my way, but I was in there with some great fighters, young fighters too. And that's one thing that I compare my life with and my career with a lot of fighters nowadays. Back then when I was coming up, I didn't care. I mean, money was an option, but it really wasn't too much about money, because I wasn't really making no big money. I didn't make them $100,000 fights. I didn't make them $20,000 fights. I didn't make those fights. I just was anybody that my manager and my promoter, which was Main Events, anytime they called me and was like, "Ivan, we got to fight for you," I never turned nobody down. Even if the kid was a knockout artist, I never turned him down. I fought everybody. And my dad was the guy to get me in shape. He kept my head going. And, you know, talking about the Emmanuel fight, Emmanuel Augustus gave me a lot of trouble, you know, going into and being the fighter that I am today. And if it wasn't for my dad being able to, you know, prevail me to jump in the ring and jump in my behind, you know, that fight could have turned out to be worse than what it was. But, you know, he got me over the hump. I went in there and did what he told me to do, and I was able to get that title shot with Philip Holiday.
Okay, let me ask you about another fight. Vivian Harris. That went to a draw. Why did you never fight Vivian Harris again?
You know what? Like I said, at that time with Vivian Harris, it's not really too clear. I got to look at my record, but I think Vivian Harris was like a stepping stone for me. He was a stepping stone for me, I think, probably to get me back into title contention, and it was a prevailing fight for Vivian Harris to see if he could beat a guy like me that was really at that time, I was fighting at lightweight, and to see if I could really, muster or continue to fight at a high level of intensity with the lightweight division. And I think I did. Vivian Harris was young. He was very strong. He had a great right hand. And he hit me with it early in the fight. And I knew I was in a fight, but again, at the time I was, you can say seasoned if that's what you want to call it. I was seasoned. I prevailed. Of course, I could have did more. I didn't, but I got the draw, and it was a good thing.
Okay, another fighter, I'm kind of curious why it took so long for you guys to meet in your career, because he was around for a long time and you were around for a long time, and you didn't end up fighting Julio Cesar Chavez until 2005. Why?
Well, again, when you're talking about boxing or you're talking about a person's career, period, like I said, you know as well as everybody knows, Julio Cesar Chavez is one of the greatest welterweights or junior welterweights or lightweights of his time, his era. He was on his way out. I was still there, but I had to pretty much, I guess, sell myself, improve myself to other fighters. To other promoters. And that fight with Julio Cesar Chavez was a fight I needed to, I guess, get over to get by, for people to look at me differently. We prepared 8 weeks for the fight. The only thing about that was I didn't have no boxing for the 8 weeks that was in camp, because the first week I got to camp, I boxed and I got into a with a fighter inside the gym. And when he hit me with the right hand, my mouth was kind of open and my tooth went through the bottom of my chin. And my dad told me it would heal, but if I went to the doctor and got stitches or whatever, I wouldn't have been able to fight. So what we did, we trained for the next 6 weeks. No boxing, just practically trained, and we trained twice a day. And I think I went out there and I gave Chavez a great performance. But the only thing I think hurt me was that I didn't have no boxing. If I would have had boxing, I think that fight would have been a lot more different than what a lot of people expected. It was definitely no way that Chavez should have been able to beat me. And if I was in great shape, he shouldn't have been able to touch me.
Okay,
things happen.
Let me ask you something. You must have an awful lot of respect for him, because there was a lot talked about where you gave him the bow in the beginning, and then you walked to his corner and you kissed him on the cheek.
Well, you have to look at it. I was just reading an article before you called me. I was looking at how they was, which media and your type of work does it all the time. They always want to, fighters with each other. I sparred Pernell Whitaker on many occasions. I sparred Pernell. I was his main sparring partner when he fought Oscar De La Hoya. Me and Arturo Gatti. Me and Arturo Gatti was with Pernell when he fought the kid Hurtado in Atlantic City. So, that's respect right there that I have for Pernell. Whoever would have thought I would have been in camp with Pernell, not me. So, I look at Chavez, way before my time, he fought great fighters. He was still fighting when I was fighting. For me to get a fight like that, people in the boxing world was probably like, how could a kid like Ivan even get a fight with a kid like Julio Cesar Chavez? One of the best ever. Again, I had let go of my dad. People had said to me, you're not going to be able to do nothing without your dad back in your corner now, it's kind of late. Nothing is never going to happen. Well, God proved everybody wrong. My dad got the fight for me, and my dad got back together. It was just a little too late. But, I was just pleased to be in the ring with a legend. Chavez is a legend. I can actually, like you do, go up on my record and look at all the fighters that I fought. And even though the Arturo Gatti, the Jesse J. Leon, the biggest fight of my career that stands out is Julio Cesar Chavez.
And I was just about to ask you that over all the other fights, if you felt personally that was your biggest fight. So.
Well, I can pick out a lot of fights. You know, I could pick out a lot of fights. Of course, I shot away from no one, and my record tells. But no disrespect to Julio Chavez Sr. He's a great fighter, but my toughest fight was Arturo Gatti.
All right, and speaking of Arturo Gatti, let's get to those two fights, because a lot of people don't know, or some of the boxing fans might not know, that before those two fights, you and Arturo Gatti were actually friends, and you were in the same gym with Pernell Whitaker, right?
Right. One thing that I love about I don't know what it is now, because I have a friend of mine that you might know, a kid named Dargan, a dynamite, Sharp Dargan. Kyle Dargan from Philadelphia. He's with Bernard Hopkins and them. I trained with him on many occasions. He's a young fighter now. I think he's like 17, 18 older now. But he always had respect for me. So me coming up, I had to have respect for him. And I was in camp with Pernell plenty of times. Pernell wasn't just a boxer. He was a teacher. He was a brother. So me and Pernell got to connect a lot. But what was funny about it, every time Pernell got ready for a big fight, it was always me and Arturo Gatti in camp with him. Me and Arturo Gatti never sparred each other. Never. We always used to spar with Pernell Whitaker. And it was just crazy that me and Gatti formed up a great friendship. I couldn't tell you today that back then I could say that main events was trying to put an Ivan Robinson and Arturo Gatti fight together. I couldn't tell you that. My team couldn't tell you. And honestly, I don't think Arturo Gatti team could tell you that. But we grew such a great relationship. And at the end of the day, boxing is a business. I already know that Arturo Gatti was eating good, and he was getting the things that he wanted, because main events really took care of Arturo Gatti. That's where I wanted to be, but at the same token, I could fight, so it didn't matter to me. So when they brought the Arturo Gatti fight and Ivan Robinson fight together, it was to me, it wasn't a matter of friendship. It was business. And I think anybody that knows Arturo would tell you the same thing. Arturo didn't look at it as a friendship. He looked at it as a business. He was dying out a little bit, starting to die out, because he had just lost the man Freddie not too long ago. So his stock had kind of went down, and I needed to get in a good fight to boost my stack to go up. So when main events brought the Arturo Gatti fight about, I turned down for no one. So why would I turn down Arturo Gatti when I know at that time, even though he lost, Arturo Gatti was still the hottest fight in the world.
You guys actually got Fight of the Year by Ring Magazine for the first fight, right?
Right. Yeah, we got Fight of the Year, definitely.
Now, during your career, though, you held two titles. You had the USBA and the NABF lightweight titles, right?
Yes, sir.
And you actually did, like I said, you did fight for a world title. You just didn't get it.
Right. And, now that, you ain't got to be the dumbest person in the world. You ain't got to be the smartest person in the world. Things happen for a reason, and you don't look at them at that time. Maybe later on you do. But, like I said, I don't regret my career. I love my career. I think I've done everything and anything anybody asks me to do, and if anybody want to say anything different, I don't care. Because, like I said, I was happy with the way my career went and loved it. The only thing that I really hold a grudge with my career and in my life is one. I never got another shot at world title. Why? There was more than just the IBF out there. I could afford anybody. I would afford anybody for the WBC, IBF, again, WBA, or these little mediocre titles, like the WBA interim, all those type of bouts. But I didn't get it, and I guess it didn't matter. You don't have to fight for a world title to make plenty of money, because I made plenty of money with the two Arturo Gatti fights. So, God had a plan for me, Manny Vince had a plan for me, and they both set out to get it done, and they did the best thing, and I went out there and I just performed. I love to perform. So
let me ask you something. I know you told me once before about you, Pernell, and Arturo Gatti. You guys kind of used to hang out, and Pernell used to take care of you guys?
Yeah, definitely. Well, we was in San Antonio the first time when Gatti was getting ready for her title. That was the first time I met Tim Duncan, David Robinson, you know, and Purnell had grew respect and a friendship with those guys. So we used to use their facility every day, their weight rooms, and we used to train in the gym down there. So, you know, we grew a real close relationship with the San Antonio Spurs. I grew a great friendship with Pernell Whitaker. And at the end of the day, everyone knows me and Arturo Gatti became the best of friends. It's just funny, though, how, you know, me and Arturo Gatti got a chance to fight each other. I wouldn't have thought in a million years that, you know, Gatti would have took a fight with me, or I would have took a fight with him. But it happened. Like I said, I gotta love Arturo Gatti because at that time, as you can see, I don't know what it was. Nobody wanted to fight me. I could never get a shot at the title. But you know what? Arturo Gatti stuck his neck out, and he gave Ivan Robinson 2 chances to blossom. He burnt me. He brought me to life. He gave me my creation to boxing. He helped me for what it was worth. He gave me 2 big fights that turned out to be 2 biggest fights in my career. And to this day, I got guys like you still talking about it. I have fighters, ex-fighters, new fighters, old fighters, retired fighters, still talking about that Arturo Gatti fight. So, you know, I guess I can go to my grave with that.
Well, I can honestly tell you that I own both fights on DVDs, so I watch them on a regular basis.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Just one more thing about the Arturo Gatti. Like you said, you guys were really close friends. So when you got told about his death and stuff, what is your opinion on what do you think happened there?
Well, I talk to my girl about it all the time, and I kind of talk to my dad about it because I know coming up, I'm not a very emotional person. I'm not a very violent person, but these last couple years, and since Arturo Gatti has passed away, for some reason I've become very violent and very just unusual sometimes. I would never hurt nobody. That's not me. I don't do that. I'm a loving person. I'm the same person that you probably knew of back in the late 80s, early 90s. I'm still that person. But when Arturo Gatti's death was brought to my attention, and I'll never forget it, I was sitting in my dark room at the time where I do all my work at, prepare for all my events and stuff I know. And when it hit me, I mean, it was like being hit by him. It was a real total shock. And then after I found out the details how it happened, I tell you just like I tell everybody else, Arturo Gatti would have never killed his damn self. Arturo Gatti loved himself more than life. And then on top of it, he had a daughter that was just born. Excuse my expression, but that's bullshit. Arturo Gatti was a fun, happy, fighting his ass off guy. Gatti would fight you till his death. I remember Gatti saying to me, he'd leave everything and he would die in that ring. He'd do a lot better than I would do because I wouldn't die in the ring. But he said he would die in the ring. And in some fights you see, you couldn't understand how he could just take a beating like that. And I didn't understand it either. But what would happen in the next maybe round or two? He come knock your head in the dirt. That's the type of guy Arturo Gatti was. Outside the ring, man, he was the most pleasant guy, the most respectful, the most loved guy in the world. He would give you your shirt off his back. So when I found out about that, I went to his wake out in Jersey City. It was just something that I could never forget. And I hate it so much, and I disrespect it so much. I can't even do funerals right now. I just can't. I can't go to funerals. I'm hurt. If I ever see his ex-wife personally, I would go to jail because I would hurt her. She didn't have to do that man like that.
So
and I still say to this day, she killed him. He didn't kill herself. She killed him.
Well, I appreciate you being willing to talk about that. I wasn't sure if you would talk to me about it or not, but I do appreciate you being honest and giving me your opinion on that. So I'll switch to.
I was always told by my dad, for men, that's just like me with you. Our word is our bond, and I'm giving you my true word. Gaddy would never in a million years kill himself. For what reason? And don't tell that for what reason. He had the best life ever. He was worth, what, $3 million? He had about 8 or 9 million put up already. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't a kid that expanded his life like, he drunk. Of course, everybody, they drink now and then. But Gaddy didn't do nothing to mess up no money. That's why I know to this point that Pat Lynch, the family of Pat Lynch, and maybe Vince just hurt me so bad from this. It's hard to talk about, but it ain't something that I have to talk about all the time. Once in a blue moon, I talk about it. I don't think I talked about this since he died. I don't think nobody else answered this since he died. They always ask about the fight, but they never asked me about his death. That's the first time.
So, all right. On another note, are you friends with Jesse James Leha?
Yes, we still tight. I talk to Jesse as much as I can on Facebook. I think we talked last year via phone, because every summer I do a boxing tournament here in Philadelphia with all my guys from Philadelphia, and I reach out to different cities and bring their guys in to box with my champions, or the guys that I feel as those worthy fighting on my tournament. So I talked to him last year. He helped me out. He's a good dude too. Very respectful. Loved in San Antonio. If he could run for me, he probably would run for me. He'd probably get a lot of people behind him. I know I would. I called to him last year and asked him to help me donate some money to the cause for kids, and he did. I have no problem with none of those guys. Actually, I have no problem with nobody. And I thank God that they did create Facebook, because a lot of champions that we don't get to talk to or see, I get to talk to them more than ever, and I get to see them, see how they doing, if they're okay. Like I just got off the phone last night with Frank Tate. Frank Tate was a great fighter, and I watched him, but I never thought I would be talking to him.
Well, I never thought I'd be talking to you, Ivan, so...
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Listen, how did you... I just saw that you got, last year, put in the Pennsylvania Boxing Hall of Fame, and then the year before, you got put in the New Jersey Boxing Hall of Fame.
Yes.
So how do you end up in 2 different state Hall of Fames?
I don't know. How you get to do your homework so well?
Because that's my job.
Hey, well, I'll give it to you like this. You're good at what you do, and I thank you for calling me. Because, people, it's just like riding a bike. A lot of people can't ride bikes. You know what I'm saying? You ask people about math, a lot of people can't count. And, out of boxing, I was just telling my girl yesterday, I'm very, thankful. I'm blessed, because you don't have a lot of fighters nowadays who can, talk in sentences. You don't have fighters that can complete sentences. You don't have fighters that can go out and talk to kids on a daily basis. So, I'm blessed. I'm happy. Now, as far as the New Jersey and Pennsylvania, that's a dream come true. I mean, I love it. What I really would want, and I don't really bark on it. I hope it happens, but I'm good with it. I don't think it's gonna happen. But I would like to get up to I would like to be put in the Boxing Hall of Fame, the big Boxing Hall of Fame. But you know what? Jersey and Philly is great. It's good. I'm good with that. I understand, and I love it.
Okay, and now that your career's been over since 2008, so hey, I understand that you just been like training the young kids and doing a lot of amateur stuff, and talk to me about that a little bit.
Well, it's definitely different from when I was coming up. But I love the sport. I crave for the sport. It's crazy because I always said when I was done my career, I was just gonna retire from boxing. I'm not going to do anything with. But you know, one thing that I found out about the boxing in my life period, you know, some fighters create enemies. They have enemies that come along in their time and people they can't deal with. But for me, I hate to say it, I'm still loved. People, you know, like for yourself, that want to talk to me. Kids want to know about my career. And it's crazy that I do have a lot of kids that like me to train them, you know, wants me to, you know, deal with them, teach them, help them. And with me, it ain't just about boxing. You know, I'm definitely that hard-driven coach. It ain't just about boxing. It's about school. You know, it's about life. You know, I have a lot of young men that, you know, I sit down and talk to. It ain't just on a daily basis about boxing. Some days you come to train, we may not even train. We may just sit around at the gym because I got a lot of kids that their parents bring them to the gym and let me work with them. And then when I work with them, they go home and do whatever. Sometimes I try, like every Saturday, I have them come to the gym and tell them to bring all their gym gear. They come in the gym and they come in the gym to sit down and get dressed. I tell them, no, we're not training today. Well, what are we doing today, coach? We're having a day-to-day talk. Today is the day that we're going to sit down and we're going to talk. Well, what are we talking about? I want to know what's going on in school. I want to know how your grades are. I want to know how you get along with your family. You know, all those type things. It ain't just always about boxing.
But when it is about boxing, do you educate them in the history of boxing? Do you let them know who paved the path for them?
Who does what?
I said, do you sometimes let them know who paved the path for them? Do you talk about like the Tysons, the Holyfields, the Haglers, the Hearns, the people that came up before them so that they know the history of the sport they're in?
Yeah, I talk to them all about that. I think, I'm glad you brought that up. I think that's something that's kind of like lost with our youth today. You know, no disrespect to Floyd, you know, I love Floyd to death. And Floyd was another guy I wanted to fight, but Roger told me he wouldn't let him fight me. Don't ask me why, I don't know why, I just wanted to fight him. I would have fought anybody. Hopefully my record shows that. But I try to get to sit down and talk to our kids. Try not to get stuck on Floyd, because everybody want to be Floyd. Everybody want to fight like Floyd. You know what I'm saying? It's good to have a mentor. It's good to have an idol. And I'm not saying kids shouldn't idolize Floyd, because Floyd has done a lot for the sport. You know what I'm saying? But to some degree, you have to be your own man. You know what I'm saying? You have to come into this fight game and having your own identity. And I think that was what was good with me, because my dad made sure that I understood that this is what you're going to do. Your education is first. After that, you know, family. Then after that, boxing. But if you're going to box, you got to have your own identity. I can go out there and look at a Ray Robinson or Ray Leonard and look at the things they did, because those were the guys I idol. I definitely idol the two Sugar Rays. I love them to death. But I know I could never fight like them. But if I would just take a little bit of what they owned or what they had and put it to what I can do, I felt though, you know, I could be good. And that's how I do. That's how I talk to my fighters.
All right. Well, listen, Ivan, I'm gonna end this interview. Is there any last things you want to say to the boxing fans that followed your entire career all the way up until you retired?
Well, one thing for sure, two things for certain. Boxing isn't dead. You know, I know we fell off. I know the boxing ain't like it was in the 70s and 80s, but we had different eras right now. Boxing is always going to be alive. There's always going to be true champions and out here in the world. And I want just everybody to love each and every fighter, because one thing for sure, two things for certain, it takes a champion to even step in the ring. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how bad you are. Any fighter, any boxer, any human being that steps in the ring needs to be respected.
Well, thank you, Ivan, for taking the time with me today. And the truth has spoken.